Testing, testing. Okay, we're going to start in 30 seconds. Please stand by.
Fellow citizens of Africa, I greet you in the name of the Universal Negro Improvement Association.
From the lifetime, begging for acceptance into the same government that made slaves of his people.
Ladies and gentlemen, and brothers and sisters all, I'm very glad to be here this evening.
America has never really addressed the problem of justice for black people.
Today, minority children face inequalities in school spending and even more. They face punitive testing and accountability agendas.
When you elect these Negroes, you think that it's going to change our condition. It does not change.
We must never surrender. America will get better and better. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
All right. Welcome everyone into the room. You are in the right place at the right time. And this is the Colored Only Cafe. I'm your host, Tylon Washington. I'm waiting on my good buddy and partner to join us, Dr. Christopher Osborne-Williams. He has a show right before this show, and they do a little overtime. But anyway, I want to welcome you all here. Folks who are watching live on Facebook, if you want to join the room, you are more than invited to do so. All you have to do is go to GoProRadio.com. All right, and just pick on Colored Only Cafe icon, and it will bring you into the room. If you're checking this out on your listening device, on your smart device, your smartphone, or whatever, and you already have the app called Zoom, it's real easy. Just join us. We're in room 848-4954-7074. That number, once again, is 848-495-7074. And the password is Fresh Brew, all one word. All right? FRESHBREW. For all those who've been using autocorrect so long you forgot how to spell. Oh, man. All right, so welcome. We're here. A few folks are loading in. And as they load in, I want to remind everybody that we are on Facebook Live and recording. All my Facebook friends, hello, greetings, and welcome to the Colored Only Cafe. Today is Wednesday, June 14th, and it was a really day that was kind of weird. It was rainy but sunny. It's a good day here in New York City, and I know we have an international audience chiming in. We have folks checking us out in France, in Germany. Big shout out to Sheila Silva. I hope she joins the room. And a big shout out to Soul Production. That's all this wonderful music you are checking out, listening in on the background on all of our shows. Soul is a music producer and graphic designer, and he's out of France, and he loves to create instrumental tracks and really cool visuals when you go to his site. But please support him, all right? And it's FASOL Productions, all right? And like I said, you want to support. We're really big on supporting each other, supporting independent artists. We encourage it all the time. So his tracks are really cool, and you can pick up his music anywhere you get your music: Spotify, iTunes, Pandora, wherever you go. But we have to support this brother. We love his music here. We're going to get him on the show because it's Black Music Month, and we would love to talk to him about his music, his influences, and get him in and talking. But anyway, we got a lot of topics. We got a lot of ground to cover today. We're going to be getting into the whole Cornel West for president conversation. I'm sure that there are those who think it's a good idea, other people who think it's a bad idea for black people. Some people think it's horrible. Someone told me that's horrible, and I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I just, I think I voted once. I just don't have any faith in this system. It was never designed to empower the people, the masses of people, and it's like they keep talking about democracy and choice, but it feels like Coca Pepsi, right? Those are the choices, Democrat, Republicans. So anyway, we have that conversation, and we were supposed to have Ann L. Thompson Scretching, and she's an award-winning playwright, and she has this really terrific play. It's a new, scathing, rich, and unsettling play about the Tulsa Race Massacre. And I know a lot of people just call it the riots, but that wasn't an honest depiction of what happened. It was really a massacre. And it's a tragedy which officials at that time actively tried to wipe from the historical records. So just to kind of keep that story going and alive, there's a brand new play that we have to get out and support. And she sent one of her representatives to our program to talk about this play, talk about why they decided to do this, and what some of us can expect to see if and when we go out to support this. I'm going to try to get out and see it and hopefully give you guys my feedback on it. I was surprised to see one of my good friends and an actor who's acting in one of my films, Shabaya Clark, is actually a part of this production. So it's going to be real interesting to reconnect with Shabaya. He does some wonderful work with young people all the time around the world of acting. And so a couple of more folks are loading in here on Zoom. Big shout out to Kathleen Blanco. She's here again. Jacqueline Banner from the team posse of Iron Metropolis and GoPro Radio. Sonny B is in the house, the legendary radio personality who has really engineered a lot of music careers behind the radio, and also artists who are up on stage, very instrumental. He has a show called We the People, but also airs on the GoPro Radio Network every Thursday between 9 and 10 o'clock. And we just have a good time. We really just play a lot of jams. You can actually see the music that we're playing. You see the two turntables playing the music through this really great DJ program. And Sonny is unfiltered, and I try to prepare everybody. He's liable to say anything. He has no filter. He's just honest. He has zero filter. He makes this show a lot of fun, I tell you. His show is tomorrow. Please join us. And it's real easy to join. We just set this up this week where all you have to do We making this like super easy for people. Just go to GoPro Radio. When you go to GoProRadio.com, click on We the People and go live tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And you can join us in the room. I'm always there talking smack. So we're really, it almost feels like a continuation of the Colored Only Cafe because we talk political, but we talk about relationships. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about who makes better dads. I mean, who makes better parents, the dads or the moms? And that's going to be interesting because we got Father's Day coming. I bet you a lot of guys forgot it was Father's Day.
That's because we don't get treated like fathers.
I know. I almost forgot. Somebody reminded. I said, when is Father's Day? They said it's Sunday, and totally forgot. Because we always get those really wild gifts. It's a tie. It's a cologne, and if you got a little one, they're gonna give you a macaroni necklace. You remember the macaroni? And we had to act all so happy and pleased for the macaroni necklace. And we had to act like we were wearing it going out to meetings. I remember doing that with my daughter. I said, look, I'm wearing it. And, but to my surprise, my daughter, Tati, when I got back in, I had taken it off. She said, Daddy, what happened to the macaroni necklace? I forgot to put it back on when I got back in the house. I said, no, I think somebody was going to try to take it. I saw a guy on the corner. And he was looking at it. I didn't want him to take it from me. So I had to take off the macaroni necklace. Yeah, so big shout out to my daughter Tatiana and Taya and Tayana. I want to say hello to all of my girls there. And maybe when they check out the show and I gave them a shout out, maybe my gift might get nicer. All right, so let's get into it. Folks that are here, let me acknowledge our panelists. We have, of course, Deshaun Farad, who is here in the house, and he's going to give us the Black World Report in a few minutes. And we have, Brother Pete, is he here? Is he in the room yet? Oh, well, he's coming. He's doing, a lot of people are doing shows when they jump in on this show. But Brother Pete, he always brings the heat. He's like the elder statesman here in the room. We have Sean, who's coming in. And, Quinn Alston is like regular. He's going to have to be an official panelist on our program. What do you think about that, Quinn? Can I see you? Can you think you can make it almost every week?
I can make it almost every week. Almost every week, definitely.
Oh, okay.
Always almost.
For folks who don't know, Quinn Alston is an incredible filmmaker, smart filmmaker. We're going to be collaborating on some projects. People say that there's not a Black Hollywood. It actually exists. It just has to become better organized. And I'm working with a lot of really smart and hip and just ultra creative filmmakers. I'm a filmmaker. If you don't know that already, just check out, just do your homework.
Award-winning filmmaker.
Oh, that's right, man. You know what? They flew me out, by the way. I was in the West Coast last weekend, so I'm back. Yeah, we won the Cannes Film Festival. I was surprised. I did not enter my film. People say, I thought you were so anti-Hollywood. How are you in the Cannes? It was a college professor that entered this film that actually it was actually a work for hire for Deidre Farmer-Paleman and the Restitution Study Group. And we got the call that the film was in the festival. And I was like, oh, great, that's exciting. It's good news. I really did not expect to win not just one award, but 2 awards, one for Best Short 2D and another one for social commentary. So especially that one, I got first place for that film. So that's really great. And there were a lot of interesting films. I found out that my film was up against a film that Leonardo DiCaprio had sponsored or invested in short, and also Michael Douglas had invested in a film short. So the competition was legendary. So I was really impressed that I was just in the Cannes Film Festival. Did not expect to win anything, and then won 2 awards. So that was really shocking and surprising. And it's been very busy ever since. I'm still trying to catch up to myself. which is really, really exciting. I see Lydia Percy is here. Hi, Lydia. I'm glad you're here. Oh, and told you Germany is in the house. Sheila Silva is here. Sheila actually represented me and Iron Metropolis at the Cannes Film Festival. So I want to thank her for joining the room and being here and joining our conversation. But, it's 9:15. I got to stop talking because, it's about that time. At the top of the hour, we give our Black World Report. So before we give the Black World Report, I got a little surprise for Brother Deshaun Farad. So I hope he enjoys this.
Why did he hinton?
Hotep Peace Family, Dashawn Farad here in Coney Island, Brooklyn, attending the annual tribute to the ancestors that has been taking place for well over 3 decades. This is the first time since COVID that they've had it in person. The tribute to the ancestors marks when our enslaved ancestors, enslaved Africans were dropped off here to be the burden bearers of the white citizens of this nation. A lot of people don't know that there was slavery in the North, but this here was one of the first places in the United States where we were dropped off as enslaved Africans. Now, I'm not going to get into the debate whether or not slavery happened. I have no time to get into a debate with you pretendians and some other groups within the conscious community that want to deny slavery, but we have documented evidence that this is one of the places where we were dropped off. So I'm just going to go around and show you what's taking place briefly. Hold one second. Peace Family, I forgot to mention that when they say tribute to the ancestors, they actually do several African-themed rituals. Many of our people here practice Ifa, Yoruba, Akan. They practice the Kemetic tradition. They practice what is referred to as the traditional African religions that we were practicing before the coming of Europeans, before the coming of pale Arabs. So, yeah, sorry about that, family. Got cut off because the battery. Hotep Peace Family, Dashawn Farad here in Philadelphia, celebrating the annual Odunde Festival. Odunde was started in the early 80s, just like yesterday, tribute to the ancestors. Odunde was created to honor our African ancestors, people of African descent. Of course, this is much older than the tribute to the ancestors in Coney Island, New York. This one also, like the tribute to the ancestors, features an African-centered ceremony in which we have a processional all the way to the waterfront where the slave ships that came and dropped us off. This event is attended by many people from across the globe, black people from across the globe. We're in South Philadelphia. It usually begins on South Street in Philadelphia. I came down with some friends of mine, but I've been attending Odunde for quite some time. So it's important for we as people of African descent to, as Dr. Malefi Asante said, to return back to our African center. And I will always quote Dr. John Henry Clark, me being a Pan-Africanist, when he says Pan-Africanism or perish. And of course, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, one aim, one goal, one destiny, one people, Black Power.
And you got it, Deshaun.
Wow,
How'd you like your surprise?
Well, brother, I was hoping that it was a rather curvy, thick sister, but no, brother, that just is. Brother, that was just as. Listen, brother, that made my day, and there were plenty of curvy, thick sisters in Coney Island, and especially at a Dundee. I wanted to. That's why I was distracted. You saw me moving my head going like that because I was seeing all types of round and rounds walking around.
There you go.
Listen, family, the Coney Island report got cut off because my phone had ran out of battery.
Okay.
Power. But for those of you, just to be clearer, the tribute to the ancestors had begun in 1989, and the Odunde Festival in Philadelphia began in 1975. Okay, so, but once they established the tribute to the ancestors at a certain point, they begin setting the date always the Saturday before Odunde. It's always Odunde is always held on a Sunday, the main festival, but it's all the tribute to the ancestors is always held the Saturday before that. You know, and that's on purpose. That's actually on purpose because many of the people, if not most of the people that attend the tribute to the ancestors in Coney Island, always end up in Philadelphia the next day, right, at Odunde, right. So anyway, family of Brother Tylon, I thank you for that wonderful intro, brother. You're, definitely a bad man. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Using the footage, and that's exactly what it's about. On the ground, we call that guerrilla journalism.
Oh yeah.
Which I've been doing for quite some time, regular and guerrilla journalism, if you would. So we're going to get to the news, family. So I'm going to pull up right now. Yesterday, former President Donald Trump pled not guilty to classified documents and charges. He pleaded not guilty to 37 charges related to alleged mishandling of classified documents, and his lawyers asked for a jury trial during Trump's arraignment on Tuesday. So this happened yesterday at a federal courthouse in Miami. And Todd Blanche had told the judge, he's one of Trump's attorneys, that, quote, we most certainly enter a plea of not guilty. Now, during the hearing, Trump sat hunched over with his arms crossed and a scowl on his face. He did not speak. Typical Trump. That's his hubris. That's his pride. Always having an attitude. Also, Trump's aide and co-defendant, Walt Nauta, was also arrested, fingerprinted, and processed. He had an initial appearance on Tuesday, but he's not going to be arraigned until June 27th. Now, here's what happened at Tuesday's hearing, okay? And it took about 45 minutes. Magistrate Judge Jonathan Goodman ruled that Trump could not communicate with Nauta about the case. And the judge also told prosecutors to make a list of potential witnesses that Trump can't communicate with about the case except through counsel. The judge did not place any travel restrictions on either defendant. The Justice Department recommended that both Trump and Nauta be released with no financial or special conditions. Here's that white privilege again. Prosecutor David Hubbard said that the government doesn't view either of them as a flight risk. Now, you and I both know that Aisha, Pookie, and Ray Ray, or Rahman and Muhammad, we can have all the money in the world too, but they'll consider us a flight risk. So Goodman began the hearing thanking the entire law enforcement community for their work on Tuesday. Now, right before the arraignment hearing, deputy marshals had booked Trump and took electronic copies of his fingerprints. They didn't take a mugshot for Trump because of the fact that he's already, everybody knows him. So there was no need for him to take a mugshot. And so the booking process took about 10 minutes. And the criminal charges in the Justice Department's classified document case escalates the legal jeopardy surrounding Trump. Special counsel Jack Smith had attended Tuesday's arraignment. Now, once again, he faces 37 felony counts, alleging he illegally retained national defense information and that he concealed documents in violation of witness tampering laws and the Justice Department's probe into the materials. And of course, they brought up Mar-a-Lago, the Mar-a-Lago raid. And here's something to keep in mind. The Mar-a-Lago raid, it was a raid, but it wasn't the way that you would think because of the fact that they told Trump that they were coming. The secrets, they told the Secret Service, look, we're coming to check the place. So it wasn't a raid the way we would, the way many Trump supporters would like it to be. Also outside of the Miami federal courthouse were many of Trump's supporters. You even had a group there that I actually interviewed one of its members in 2020 during the Stop the Steal March in DC called Blacks for Trump. And so Roland Martin have actually posted up a video of this particular brother who I interviewed going on 3 years ago, he's a member of one of the Hebrew Israelite families. According to him, he says that Trump was prophesied in the Old Testament as being that one good white man that would actually challenge other white people and bring us salvation. Yes, Tylon, he said it again. And Roland, of course, you know how Roland is. Like, look at this clown. Roland clowns him. But I interviewed this I saw it last night, and I interviewed this brother 3 years ago, but it's a group called Blacks for Trump. And this particular brother who was like the he appeared to be the spokesperson for this group. He had, you know, like I said, I interviewed him, you know, like I said, in DC. And so this is to let you know, a lot of people that may call Trump a racist, et cetera, et cetera. He has a lot of black people with him. People that say that Trump is homophobic and transphobic. He has a lot of gay and trans folks with him, white folks with him, and even some non-white gay and trans people. I've actually met them. When I was at the at the Stop the Steal march and rally in 2020, I can't tell you how many rainbow flags I saw out there. And I even spoke with the off camera, because I covered it. I even spoke off camera with a gay white man, had a rainbow flag. He snapped on another gay rights group for protesting against Trump. So anyway, this story right here, Trump, he's still the front runner. His legal troubles have not caused him any problems. NBC poll had said that if Republicans were to vote today, they said 65% of them would vote for Trump, according to an NBC poll that Chuck Todd, he hosts Meet the Press, he reported on this. The second poll the second question in the same poll had asked if, okay, who are you most likely to vote for in the future? Trump had got 75% of the Republican nomination. That was this Sunday, and he still has major support. And of course, right now, just to let you know that within the GOP, Trump has caused some more divisions, because you have Republicans on Capitol Hill that are telling Trump, hell no, you damaged our party. And then you have another group that are saying, no, Trump is going to be our man, but who's actually in an awkward position still is McCarthy, the Speaker of the House. Because remember, his support of Trump nearly cost him the speakership, because, he's the Speaker of the House. That's the third person in line. If anything happens to the president or the vice president, the Speaker of the House becomes the president. But remember, he had to have an election at least 9 times for him to be elected Speaker of the House. And that was from other Republicans, because whatever party wins the House, that's who chooses the Speaker of the House. So it wasn't Democrats. Republicans were giving him a hard time, like, yo, you supporting this clown. He damaged our party. He cost us, the midterm elections. We were supposed to take both houses, and you're supposed to have the House and the Senate. You supporting him. So it took McCarthy at least 9 times, okay, to run in the Republican caucus to be Speaker of the House. So right now we still have division, but Mega is not going anywhere, okay, whether he wins or not. But there's some people that are predicting, though, there are political analysts who, there are political analysts that are saying that Trump is going to lose regardless, in 2024. Okay, family, taking our attention to Rankin County, Mississippi. A $400 million federal civil rights lawsuit filed Monday on behalf of 2 men who reportedly beaten and tortured by Rankin County Sheriff's deputies, knowing what attorneys say was an unlawful arrest earlier this year, says the department has a pattern of excessive force against Black people. The 14-count lawsuit, by the way, is being filed by attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz. He's over Black Lawyers for Justice based in Washington, D.C. The lawsuit details the night of January 24th, when 6 white deputies conducting a drug investigation raided the Braxton residence, where Michael Corey Jenkins, who's 32, and his friend, 35-year-old Eddie Terrell Parker, both brothers are Black men, they were living there. What followed, according to the lawsuit, was 90 minutes of unlawful imprisonment and unjustified torture, which considered sexual abuse while the men were handcuffed. Okay, Michael Corey Jenkins and Eddie both say that these white cops were doing some sadistic type stuff to them, even having them take a shower naked together. Okay, a lot of people don't know that in the case. The height of this reported mistreatment came when a deputy placed his service weapon inside Jenkins' mouth and pulled the trigger, leading to a broken jaw and lacerated tongue. Now, forget saying allegedly. Okay, this brother is not going to imagine being shot in the mouth or lie about somebody shooting him in the mouth, nearly severing his tongue. Okay, his tongue was nearly severed, that sometimes he has to drink from a straw. Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz was on Roland Martin tonight discussing the case, and he was going into detail. Now, me, of course, working closely with Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, helping in with his PR, I've definitely been on top of this story, of course, for GoPro Radio as well as the MX Network, founded by Michi X, who I also work for. The defendants named in the lawsuit are Rankin County Sheriff Brian Bailey is the county. They're suing the county, but also the Rankin County Sheriff Brian Bailey, and deputies Hunter Edward Brett McAlpin, Christian Deadman, and 3 unknown deputies who they're not mentioning at this time. So the lawsuit also says that racial slurs were hurled by the deputies, waterboarding, and once again attempted sexual assault and threats of death by having guns pointed at them. So the lawsuit is for $400 million. There was a lawsuit, there was a press conference held yesterday. During the news conference, Attorney Shabazz had showed several pictures of evidence. It was a live stream news conference, by the way. Evidence from the scene and of the injuries Jenkins and Parker faced, including taser marks on Parker's body. None of the deputies intervened, according to the lawsuit, or tried to stop each other from hurting Jenkins and Parker during the nearly 2-hour encounters. So as of Monday, Shabazz said he has no information whether the deputies have been suspended or reprimanded. But the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, which took over the case early in the year, has completed its investigation, and it is now up to the Attorney General's office whether to prosecute the sheriff's deputies. And keep in mind, the lawsuit comes months after the FBI, U.S. Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Mississippi opened a civil rights investigation into the incident. And so in May, Attorney Shabazz had asked the Department of Justice to prosecute the deputy on charges of hate crimes and other civil rights violations. Okay, so that right there. And also too, as we wind down this story, this month, Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark visited Mississippi and made several stops, including at Jackson State University, HBCU, where she heard from Jenkins' mother and Parker during a public forum, according to the men's attorneys. And so the supporters of Jenkins and Parker have demonstrated at the sheriff's office, and on this past Saturday, they gathered at a Brandon church for a public hearing about police brutality in Rankin County. So once again, I believe the press conference was yesterday, live stream. I believe it was yesterday or Monday, but it was definitely in the past 48 hours. Also, this past Monday, Reverend Al Sharpton had in Ocala, Florida, had eulogized Sister A.J. Owens. She was the one that was killed in Ocala by that white neighbor. The white neighbor had threw a skate at her child, at one of her children. She went over there asking what the heck was going on. The white neighbor shot her, claimed that she was trying to break in. It turned out that for years, this white neighbor has been giving this woman problems as well as other neighbors. And the white neighbor did admit to the police that she called that she called this sister's children all types of racial slurs. Okay, so Reverend Sharpton, like I said, he eulogized it, and it was at the service that took place once again Monday at the Meadowbrook Church. They were going to have it initially at another church, but it was too small, so they had to move it to Meadowbrook Church. So I'm bringing you right now. Reverend Sharpton, he had explained when people were accusing protesters of being violent. Reverend Sharpton made clear during his eulogy, he said, no, violence is actually what produced the protest. These young people and other people are not being violent. So he did, Reverend Sharpton, like I said, he, definitely bigged her up, and he mentioned the importance of social justice. And he praised the young women activists, some of Owen's close friends who have been tirelessly striving to bring attention to the problem at hand. And he urged those who oppose their efforts to face their fears and allow them to speak the truth. So, and it's sad, just to let you know right now, the 9-year-old son of this sister, he blames himself. He blames himself for it because the neighbor came out, threw a skate at him, and of course he told his mother, so he blames himself. But Reverend Sharpton, he did mention it at the funeral. He said he told the relatives, don't blame yourselves. Your mother was being a mother. She was standing up for you. He said, don't blame yourself. He told the children that. So right now I'm actually trying to pull up the white woman that actually murdered this sister. One second, family. We're about to wind this down. Okay, in this article right now, my notes, I forgot the white woman's name, but I hate to say this, you can look up the white woman that did it. She faces a manslaughter charge and several other charges, but the manslaughter charge alone she's facing at least 30 years in prison. 30 years in prison. Also, Sergeant Greg Capers, the Mississippi officer who shot 11-year-old Adarian Murray, has been suspended without pay. The Mississippi police officer who shot and wounded the 11-year-old last month after the little brother called 911 for help has been, he got suspended. The city is Indianola, Mississippi, and he shot Adarian in the chest on May 20th. After the boy called for help with a domestic disturbance, Capers was suspended without pay effective immediately at a city board of aldermen meeting this past Monday evening. It was from 4 to 1. So Carlos Moore, who was an attorney for the family, said, quote, "The family of Adarian Murray, specifically his mother, Nikayla Murray, believes this is the first step in the right direction." Okay, and of course, there's more to the story. Family, as we're getting ready to wrap up, I'm about to mention some breaking news to you. And of course, we have some other stuff. But in the interest of time, I'm gonna have to wind this down, Tylon. Okay, I'm gonna rush through it. Right now, a civil rights lawyer. I'm sorry, brother. This is the story I'm gonna have to. This is breaking news right now. A grand jury has indicted former U.S. Marine Daniel Penny in connection with the chokehold death of Jordan Neely aboard a subway train. Now, just to let you know, earlier in the week, I believe it was on Monday. It was definitely recently. He actually spoke on video, giving his account, expressing remorse. Okay, the exact charges will not be unsealed until Penny appears in court at a later date. Penny was initially arrested on second-degree manslaughter charge. Video showed him, 24 years old, putting Neely in a chokehold on May 1st. Remember, he's a former Marine, and they keep on trying to emphasize that he's a former Marine as a way of people keep saying that the white media keeps doing that as a way of making him look like a saint. Like, in other words, he served this country. So anyway, on May 1st, he killed Jordan Neely, our brother, mentally ill, Michael Jackson impersonator, who most New Yorkers remember. Several witnesses they said that they observed him making threats. Okay, that's what Assistant DA Joshua Steinglass said. Okay, but other people said making threats didn't warrant him being killed. Some witnesses told police that Neely was yelling and harassing passengers on the train, according to authorities. Police sources say that Penny was not specifically being threatened by Neely when he intervened, and that Neely had not become violent and not been threatening anyone in particular. And Neely was homeless at the time of the incident. So Penny held Neely for several minutes, and at some point, Neely stopped moving, but Penny continued to hold him for a period, of time, according to Steinglass. Now, Penny remained on the scene to talk with police following the incident, and then, of course, he was let go. The medical examiner determined Neely was killed by a chokehold, and his death was ruled a homicide. Okay, and as we say, welcome to another day in America. Also, family, update. Make sure you look up John Amos. Controversy with John Amos. Reports of elder abuse. Someone said John Amos has been having health problems. He's all right. In Memphis, Tennessee, somebody set up a GoFundMe page in his name. He went online saying, "No, it's BS. Don't send any more money. That's not me." His daughter, someone in his circle, has been accused of elder abuse. But you have to, go to his Twitter, go to his Instagram to see what's going on. Also, Tyler Perry may have just become the new owner of not just BET, but also VH1. Okay, look that up. If he bought it, right now there's still some conflicting stories. If he did purchase it, the amount that he's purchased it for has not yet been disclosed. So, family, thank you very much. I'm Dashawn Farad. You're watching the Black World Report, Hotep, Black Power.
Oh, wow. Thank you. There's a lot of news to cover in a short period of time, and we got to give you more than 12 minutes. But thank you so much for that, folks. We're going to talk a little bit about this Tyler Perry buying BET, and then we're going to talk a little bit, of course, about, the subject at hand.
Tyler, I'm sorry. Don't
Cornell West story.
Tyler, I'm sorry. One more thing, brother. Yesterday, that sister, the NYPD commissioner, she had resigned. She resigned, brother, and people still trying to know why. So that was it. I'm sorry, that was the last story. You want to know why? She was only there for 18 months.
Wow. I mean, I wonder what prompted her to quit. I mean, there's a lot of speculation.
A lot of speculation, brother.
And a lot of folks are concerned about who's going to step in. who's going to replace her, what that replacement is going to look like and feel like in New York City. What was your feelings, Deshaun, in terms of
well, listen, brother,
her leadership? You thought it made a difference of any kind?
Well, no. Well, this is the thing, family. Tylon, this is the thing. We never can tell because reports with that crime went up, and oftentimes, whenever you are, here's the thing, Tylon, your best bet. And I tell people this often. Whenever we're studying crime statistics, instead of looking at media outlets, listening to TV reports, go to the FBI. The FBI can be crime reports. You said what?
Uniform crime reports.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. Uniform crime report. That's what I was thinking of. Thank you. Uniform crime reports. Thank you. It escaped me. Because sometimes you got to be very careful of who's trying to push a narrative because you never know. Somebody might be trying to make it seem like crime is going up in a certain city because they want to get rid of a certain political party. See, look, the Democrats, all their cities are overrun by crime. That type of stuff. So
it was known to be a tool of redlining. It would do that prior to redlining. They would actually have a whole bunch of people call the police and report different crimes. And they were for like small crimes like break-ins, things like that. And then shit happened. But they would do that to raise the whole crime report. So that would lower the value of the homes in the area.
That's right. And one more thing, Tylon. I'm sorry, dear brother. One more thing, Tylon, because I was trying to rush through, brother, because I know we have a show. Please pray for this. Please pray, family, for
Amir.
Yeah, definitely, brother. For
Amir Ellis.
For Amir Ellis. His mother is looking for him. He's an expectant father. Amir Ellis, Hot Springs, I believe, Arkansas. Excuse me, Hot Springs, Arkansas. He went missing, maybe like over 2 weeks ago.
Right.
He went missing, and she's like I said, she's scared. Like I said, he's an expectant father, and she's still resuming her search.
Wow.
And look up Amir Ellis and look up that case, Amir Ellis.
Well, I definitely thank you for keeping us posted on what's happening in the black world, and we look forward to you giving us more news. And hang around because we have some very important conversations. Folks, we have an incredible guest coming on talking about a new play on our second half of the program. We're going to take a quick 1-minute break, and then when we return, we're going to talk a little bit about this purchase of BET by Tyler Perry, especially now that we have so many filmmakers and folks who are in the arts on this Zoom and on Facebook Live. And I know a lot of my friends are going to want to comment on this. I know certain points of view and perspectives is not going to be popular. Oh, let me give people trigger warnings right now. I'll give you trigger warnings right now that if you don't have the stomach for that diverse voices, right? You may want to pop out the room and come back, because here we celebrate different voices. A lot of times when we're talking, we're in a vacuum, right? We're preaching to the choir, and that sure makes us feel good, but are we right about what we're saying? Are we right about what we're feeling and right about the facts even? So that's why it's important that you're in the room with people with different points of view. And at the end of the day, we love each other because we're a family, and we have to reverse some of that COINTELPRO, which is really derived from the Willie Lynch letters. This book about dividing our community. So this program is about bringing us together, letting you know that it's okay to agree and disagree, that it's totally fine. Your head is not going to explode. No one's going to love you less for a different perspective and points of view. So we are celebrating each other's diverse thought patterns, experiences, lifestyles here at the Colored Only Cafe, where the conversation is always hot, black, and strong, and where you are always invited to be engaged in our conversation and our conversations. And you don't want to go anywhere. So, stand by and hold on to your hats. And we'll be right back. We'll be right black at the Colored Only Cafe.
Fellow citizens of Africa, I greet you in the name of the Universal Negro Improvement Association.
Spends a lifetime begging for acceptance into the same government that made slaves of his people.
Ladies and gentlemen, and brothers and sisters all, I'm very glad to be here this evening.
America has never really addressed the problem of justice for black people.
Today, minority children face inequalities in school spending and even more. They face punitive testing and accountability agendas.
When you elect these Negroes, you think that it's going to change our condition. It does not change.
We must never surrender. America will get better and better. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
We are black, and you're tuned in, folks, to the Colored Only Cafe, where the conversation is always hot, black, and strong. I'm your host, Tylon Washington. We're joined also my co-host, Dr. Christopher Osborne-Williams, who is doing double, triple duty. He had a show earlier, so he's here. Let me check in with my good brother Ron. Let's see, is he here in the room, or he has to get loaded back in? Ron, you there? Oh, yeah, I see him. I see the hat. And by the way, he also does, like, he wears like a bunch of hats. He's wearing one hat now. Like, I bet you he has a hat up under that hat. And then there's another hat up under that hat. And then he wears three or four hats a day. But he's also making sure that our content is shared. And by the way, folks, we review the data all the time. We have quite a few people watching the program, well into the high hundreds, but a lot of folks aren't liking and sharing. And I suspect, extrapolating from that information, is that people are just, I don't know, like, feel like they don't have to do it. So please like, subscribe. And we see another thing that's interesting is that people who tune into the show are watching it very early. They're watching it straight through. So you have something called like the casual users, people who just kind of click on and then say, okay, this is not for me. It's black people stuff. Or you have some self-hating black folks don't like black people talking about black stuff. And so they move on, which is fine. But it's folks who watch the whole show and don't subscribe. And like I said, I think it's because they feel like they don't have to. So please, guys, you don't have to send us any money today. But if you want, you can. But at the very least, like, subscribe, share. Please share. Other than that, why you watch it? Why you watch it if you're not going to share? You want us to see it. Yeah. Ron, you're here.
Yeah, you got to let me listen. I was going back and forth. Listen, man. The reason why you can't see me right now is because I was trying to go through. I'm going to have to jump out of here and jump back on because every time I go to share now on Facebook.
Oh boy, shadow banning.
No, I'm not sure. I mean, every time I go to share now, I am a spammer. I have to go through this whole thing, explain who I am, what I do, where it is. It's at this point is ridiculous because I'm sharing the same stuff, and if somebody doesn't want me to share into their area, they can stop. It's just a harassment. It becomes problematic. But hey, I can't wait to get through this conversation. I'm going to switch over so I can get into the conversation so I can be seen. I don't like to talk and not be seen.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. No, I hear you, and thanks for keep on pushing out the content because our numbers are growing. People are enjoying what they are seeing, and we really read your comments, and we're taking notes. Like a lot of people want to know what is the Colored Only Cafe, so that's why I explain to folks that this is a diverse community in terms of the spectrum of ideas. A lot of people, when they talk about black people, they think of it's just like a whole group. We all think alike and do like the same things and eat the same foods and all that kind of stuff, and that's just not true. And just like any other group, it's not true. So I think, we have to reverse a lot of the divisions, and only the way to do that is if we come together. And so in that, energy and that spirit, if people want to say, we have the Colored Only Cafe, and we're always looking forward to people having, and sticking to, their perspectives, their points of view. We love it here. We encourage it here. All right. We want you to feel empowered to have your voice, even if it's different from the host or the co-host perspective. All right. So that's important to us. So let's get into this conversation with the filmmakers, because we don't have a lot of time, because waiting in the wings right now, a really incredible collective, a really, I think, impressive group of actors and writers and the director. She's here, and she put together really a terrific play. From what I hear, it's going to be something, a bit of a phenomenon, and you're only going to have a limited time to check out this play. It's called Resurrection. So let's get into this conversation about Tyler Perry. Matter of fact, let's get his picture up so you guys could see the conversation. There's a lot of talk on the internet. I'm going to reserve my comments to the last. Is this a good thing? This is a good thing for Black folks. We have a bunch of filmmakers here. We have a bunch of creative people, and let's get into it.
Tylon, it's good. I mean, I don't know if it's good. I just know that it's the same old same. The company was owned by a Black person. The Black person sold it so they can make money. So another Black person had to spend a whole bunch of money to buy it back. Why don't we just scratch all that and just stay with Tyler Perry Studios? I don't understand why, I guess it's the BET market, that, the idea of BET and owning BET. But what are you going to do different at BET that you ain't just doing at Tyler Perry Studios? Nothing. In my mind, you ain't going to do nothing that's different. I mean, the same Tyler Perry type of stuff.
I mean, the studios are what creates the content. BET is his vehicle to get the content out. So I'm excited as hell about the fact that Tyler Perry owns this, because that means that certain content, not that he has produced, there's certain content that other Black people are yet to produce. They will now have an opportunity to put out without that vehicle of other races saying whether it's worthy or not.
So let me ask you, brother. So you are under the belief that Tyler Perry will greenlight all Black people stuff?
Hell no, ain't nobody gonna greenlight all Black people stuff. All Black people stuff ain't worth greenlight.
But again, why not? I mean, okay, so he's gonna what is he more likely gonna greenlight? Things
all white people stuff ain't worth greenlight. Let's not even put those kind of expectations out there.
Well, no, that's not. No, I'm just saying that. Okay, go ahead.
What I'm saying is, I think there's more of an opportunity for independent producers, filmmakers, persons that write shows, writers, those kind of things. Cats just coming out of school. It's a lot of opportunity now for them cats to get in, because they'll be heard more in a studio, in a network that's ran by, brother. The expectations are totally different. I worked at BET with Robert.
I understand that, but
the expectations are totally
listen,
different.
I agree 100% what you're saying. My concern is, because Tyler Perry now owns BET, he's going to do that because he owns BET now, when he hasn't been doing it before now. I mean, listen, the idea of the skit that was done in Atlanta that Glover did, and this stereotypical idea of Tyler Perry running the whole studio from one place and decide what happened. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I haven't seen anything contradictory to that. I haven't seen, you would do better staying on Tubi or whatever that network is.
Broke up, brother.
You're freezing up a little bit.
Tubi on BET now. Yeah, Tubi, his stuff probably get played on Tubi before it's gonna get played on this new BET network, because I think that you have to, I have a concern about, will Tyler Perry say, you know, these are things that.
Oh, you froze again. Let's hear from some other filmmaker folks. I know we have Cortez here.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, what I will say is, I'm going to wait and see what happens.
Be mindful.
But I will wait. Excuse me. I will wait and see to see what happens.
On the studio, but I'm also mindful of these.
I think he can't hear. He's breaking up.
You don't know he froze.
Yeah, he froze.
Oh.
You don't know that.
What I will say, like I said, I will wait and see what's going to happen. But going by his track record, I am not too hopeful for what's going to be allowed on that network.
Oh, you being nice today, Cortez.
Will he actually greenlight? Will he actually greenlight conscious projects and such? I'm not too sure about that, because mostly what he produces himself is perpetuates a lot of stereotypes. Always the dysfunction and never the healing in the Black community too much. It's always the same old buffoonery for the most part. Now, I mean, there's a couple of things that he's done that's not total buffoonery, but for the most part, it's buffoonery and the same old stereotypical stuff. And the fact that that's what he produces, I don't have a lot of faith that he's going to put out or allow content creators work on the network that may be conscious. Like, would he allow a film such as The Eternal Extra?
Eternal Extra, I was about to say it.
On that network? I don't think he would. Would he allow the brother with the N-word movie?
Right. That's Quinn. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, will he allow that on that network? Things that's actually about trying to empower Black people. Will he allow empowering stories that may step on some white toes? Because you got a lot of Negroes out here that got power, and they're very much concerned about whether or not they're going to offend white people when trying to empower Black people. Okay, and I don't really see anything from him that says that he will stand up and allow conscious content on his network.
Right. Deshaun. Oh, okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead back to Quinn. Yeah, go ahead, Quinn respond.
No, I would definitely say, I mean, I have a lot of faith. I hear you, Cortez. I do. I hear you loud and clear, bro. But I have a lot of faith because I know, and I know this firsthand. There are levels to this shit. Like everything, there are levels to this shit. So there are a lot of things you can do at certain levels, but once you're at the top of the heat, you don't really have to listen to certain cats. You dig what I'm saying? And this guy's at a point now, he ain't got to listen to certain people. And he can make things happen for other persons. Remember, God put challenges in front of this dude that he had to overcome. So therefore, I would go ahead and have faith in the fact that brother had to overcome stuff. So therefore, I'm hopeful that he will look for that in other persons. You dig what I'm saying? So he wouldn't just see your project.
I hear what
he would already know what you went through in order to get your project to wherever it is. And it wouldn't just be him. He would galvanize himself with other persons that would have a similar eye. You dig what I'm saying? That's what I'm hopeful of.
I hear what you're saying, but that's not what he's put around himself, though.
But he hasn't had a network before.
But can we just go to this part? I'm hopeful too, my brother. Yeah. But the hopefulness would have been that him and what's the guy name would have bought the studio together, and they could have ran. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. What's his name? Tylon, the other guy. They was competing for this same
Byron Allen.
Byron Allen. Mm-hmm. So you want to talk about Black content, Black unity, coming together, making sure Black people would have more, whatever. I would have believed that you would have did this together, unified, and said, "Hey, you do one end and I do another end. Let's do those things." He didn't. He battled Brian Allen so he could have BET Studios, and so if he wants to have it, he means he wants to have it for himself to do what he wants to do the way he want to do.
Yeah, and that's his MO. That's been his MO for a minute.
So why would you believe it's gonna change?
I guarantee you right now, I bet you $2 to a pickle dipped in poop There's nobody on the state right now with a green light in any of them damn Medea movies. Not a goddamn person on here right now with a green light in any of them daggone Medea movies. Not one of them. But
well, I mean, the movies got green lighted. But let's understand why those movies got green lighted. They got green lighted because he did what every black person do with their talent. He had the plays. The plays showed the value in the money. And then the white people said, shit, these plays getting the money. Let's get to see if we can get some of the money from the movies. That's the game. Everything, that's the whole game for everything in America. How much money can Negroes accumulate for us, and then we'll let them believe that they're getting something while we really making the real bucks out of everything.
Wow. We got 2 more minutes to discuss this, but we're gonna bring this conversation into the after hour, guys. For folks who don't know, we have an offline. We closed the Facebook conversation at 11 o'clock sharp, but we continue on this. So if you guys want to talk offline off of Facebook, by the way, I want to say hello to all the Facebook friends, all the folks that are watching, checking us out. Thank you. I'm looking at it now. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. Definitely like, share. Let's get this content out. We have some really intelligent, informed educators, entrepreneurs, people who are making things happen all the time here on this call. So it's time for our second half. We're going to be right back. We're going to stop this conversation for now. We're going to take a 1 minute break. And folks, when we come back, as promised, we have a really, really incredibly talented young lady. Her name is Ann L. Thompson Skretching, and she is an award-winning writer and director, and have a film called play called Resurrection, and she's going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about it. So stand by, and we'll be right back in just 1 minute. Don't go anywhere.
Fellow citizens of Africa, I greet you in the name of the Universal Negro Improvement Association.
Spend a lifetime begging for acceptance into the same government that made slaves of its people.
Ladies and gentlemen, and brothers and sisters all, I'm very glad to be here this evening.
America has never really addressed the problem of justice for black people.
Today, minority children face inequalities in school spending and even more. They face punitive testing and accountability agendas.
When you elect these Negroes, you think that it's going to change our condition. It does not change.
We must never surrender. America will get better and better. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Welcome back, folks, to the Colored Only Cafe. It's the second half of our program. The conversation is always hot, black, and strong here at the Colored Only Cafe. We don't just talk about people and spill tea. We make that coffee that just shakes you and gets you back up and running and get you that second boost of energy. And I'm telling you, the flavor is delicious. So we're here with the second half, and as I promised you, we're going to have an awesome guest here, Ann L. Thompson. Make sure I'm stressing it, Skretching, and she is a 37-year resident of Brooklyn, and she's raised in the Van Dyke Projects in Brownsville. Wow, that's my neck of the woods. She was one time considered a slow learner, and she learned pretty quick and fast and in a hurry, and now she is at the top of her game. She's an award-winning, not only a playwright, but she's also an actor, and she is the only black female recipient of 4 Jean Wright Awards from the American Theater of Actors. She's the only black female recipient of this award because she is so dope. And welcome. Is she here? Is she online? I know she wasn't feeling so well.
Yes, I'm online.
Oh, okay, great. So glad to see you. So glad that you're able to make it. Your screen is black and it's dark. Are you?
Maybe because you got.
I can't see. But you can hear me, okay?
Can you see her?
No. We can't see.
Flip it around.
Because the camera's off or whatever.
Not that.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
We don't have a picture.
We definitely appreciate you being here.
Let me try to get the video. Can you see her now?
Lower left hand.
No, not yet. Not
to him. I don't see
left
him.
hand corner.
Well, we can.
Camera.
Well, we can hear you. While you guys fiddle with that and work
there
that
you
around.
go.
Oh, okay.
That better?
All right. So, how are you feeling today?
I feel good. How are you?
I'm so glad you made it. I know that it was a little touch and go, and we're trying to make this happen, and so glad we made it happen.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about why you're doing this play and why now.
So much is going on in the United States. I was under the impression, and I still am, we're going to have a race war. I really believe that. And it's going to be between those fools that attacked Washington and our black brothers and sisters are getting killed also. This is my feeling. And I feel Donald Trump started it.
Well,
did you hear me?
Yeah. I hear you loud and clear. You're coming across very well. So, this is about an important, very, very important part of our history. I call it our 9/11. We had a lot of 9/11s, and we had this happen in 1921. And I'm so glad you wrote in the information. A lot of people refer to it as a riot, and you called it properly a massacre that took place. Tell us.
It was a massacre.
Right. Exactly.
It was the largest massacre in the history of the United States, and they hid it. No one even knew what it was. I certainly know I didn't know what it was. I thought it was another division of Wall Street here in Manhattan. And it turned out that there was a thing called Black Wall Street in Oklahoma, which shocked the hell out of me. A lot of people don't know about this.
Right. And I think that's by design, too, that people don't know about a lot of these things in history. So that's why I'm so glad that you were able to bring it up, bring it out, and so that we can talk about it.
I'm glad I brought it out because DeSantis wants to stop Black Studies. I have 9 credits in Black Studies, and it was fascinating. You'd be surprised. I think the audience would be surprised at all the inventions we made, all the things that happened to us that are happening now. So none of this stuff is new, what is going on, where Black people are, and especially the Black male, is being killed every day by people that think we are such a threat to them. We're the gentlest people on earth.
Well, definitely thank you for doing this play. It's called Resurrection, based on the true events from the Black Wall Street Massacre of 1921. And I have some, I don't know if you guys can see on the screen, we have some pictures up of the cast. It says Resurrection cast delivers superb performances. So it has gotten some incredible reviews, some great press off Broadway. Tell us a little bit about some of the highlights of what's really special about this play and why we should all go out and see this.
I did something unusual with this particular play. I've written over 30 plays, but what I did unusual is that I let dead people tell their story because their story is phenomenal. We wouldn't know what happened had they not told this story. And I have audience participation, and believe it or not, it's the most wonderful thing that I've ever done.
Wow. Wow. Well, you definitely have a long career, and I think this is something that is happening at the pinnacle of your career right now. We have some pictures that we're looking at as part of the bio. The pictures are very powerful. There's one of a white male at the knees of a black guy. What's this about when I saw this picture? Can you see, by the way, what we're looking at? Because we're showing some pictures. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about this scene? And who this actor is? He looks
the person
really
you're
great.
looking at is Courtney Everett.
Oh, okay.
And John Horton. John has shot Courtney and he lay dead. And this 14-year-old kid is who killed him. And he doesn't realize how death has affected him. And he thinks that Courtney is taking a nap, and he sings a little song to him. And I think it's just fantastic. You would love this part. Courtney is the narrator of the play. He tells the story of the people that are dead, not only how they died, but how they've lived. Wow. And I think that's the most important thing, that he tells this story of how Black people in Black Wall Street lived, because they were millionaires, they were doctors, lawyers.
Right.
We had churches, we had hotels, we had an airport strip, we had bus stations. I could go on and on. It was a big community. And because of jealousy, they burnt this town down. But the really thing that sparked it was the story that they always say, some black man raped a white woman. And I think that is absolutely ridiculous. It turns out that she lied.
Of course. Emmett Till.
And it's this white woman right here that they claim that she was raped. I can't hear you.
No, I'm listening to you. I didn't make any comment. I'm just around here. And this is Courtney, right?
This is Courtney, the narrator.
Okay.
He's sitting right by me.
Oh, okay. Hey, hello, Courtney. Thank you
for how are you?
Making this happen. Hi. Tell us a little bit about your role in this.
Well, as Ann is saying, I'm the narrator who basically tried to draw the story to you by telling people how these wonderful people had lived, how they had prospered, and how they had grown this community into a rich, vibrant community where it sparked the jealousy of the whites, especially the poor whites, which was mostly Klan members, and how they had a mission to go out and destroy this beautiful, lovely community. And it touches my heart each and every night that I would do it, because of the fact I felt something in the pit of my stomach, that I was really doing something, telling a story about these poor lost souls. And it brings tears to my eyes just to be a part of this wonderful work that Miss Gretchen had written.
Right. Can you tell us a little bit about the research? Are you aware about the people's lives that you document through this play? Are these characters a collection?
These are real people.
Real people.
Of course, I've turned them into characters, but they are real people that died in this massacre. You were right to say it was a massacre, because that's what it was.
Yeah.
This is one of the first towns that a bomb was dropped on, and it was a homemade bomb made up by the Klan.
Well, it kind of reminds me of the recent bombing of the Move people. We had the Move family on our program about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and this happened in 1912. The Move bombing happened in I think it was 87. But it's like we realize that a lot of things have not changed in terms of the attacks on black folks, and so you're absolutely right when you point out the fact that in many ways when people talk about progress, it's very hard to find it because it seems like these same things are happening, but just differently. Like they're not lynching, but they're definitely gunning us down, shooting us in the back, and that kind of stuff. So tell us about some of the actors, some of the standouts. Who's this brother here who's up on screen, and what role does he play, and what character? And you're able to see this, right?
The picture that's being shown right now is Kevin. He's here also.
Oh, wow. Isn't that something? I keep scrolling to the people who are there. How you doing, Kevin?
Wonderful.
Tell us about your character. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here. Mm-hmm. My character name is Peter Holmes, and he's basically a whiskey maker.
We can't hear you.
Moonshine.
Okay. I'm sorry. He's a whiskey maker. Moonshine. Okay. She calls it. She says moonshine.
That's what it was called.
And I had to do research for character, development and everything, and I decided in my research to use. I don't know if you're aware of him. Nathan Nearest Green. He was the one that came up with the actual. He made the formula for the whiskey for Jack Daniels.
Oh no!
You didn't have his face on it. They usually have his face now. You could find him. He's easy. But I used him as a template. And basically, my character sells to the white members of the town, I guess, in Oklahoma, in this part of Oklahoma, Tulsa, and so it's like my character's sort of torn because they look down on him for dealing with white people, and he has these visions that something's gonna happen, and nobody believes him. So he's just a drunk who sells to the white people, and
he dreamed of a sea of blood.
Of a sea of blood, and it came out to be true.
Wow.
And so it's just this whole thing. It's a very
now was that part that this vision that he had, was that part of his biography? Was that something that you took a little license with, or is that how it really was? You took it like that. Okay.
She took license with it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I just elaborated on the character. I developed him and made him a real person.
Wow.
And it's a lot. It's spiritually, emotionally, physically. It's like it's a hard role to play. I mean, the whole piece, the whole period, the whole piece is it's a lot.
We see Kevin die on stage. The people that he made liquor for, they murdered him.
Wow.
And not only did they murder him, but what they did was they cut his throat.
Wow.
And pissed on him. And he came back to tell that story. How he thought they were his friends, and they weren't.
Wow. Well, we have a lot of filmmakers here. We have a lot of folks who are in the arts. I'm quite sure they have some questions. We're going to open up the phone lines, or the ability for people to chime in. If they have any questions, comments, or concerns, we have this incredible woman here to tell us her experience, her stories, and answer your questions. So, guys, fire away.
Hello.
Hello. You're muted.
I'd like to ask the question, if I may.
Sure.
Please.
Well, I'm not a filmmaker, but I used to produce a weekly cable show that dealt with civil rights. My question to you guys that put this wonderful production together is, how were you able to work through it to make it happen, knowing the pain and all the suffering and the loss of life of a whole town, a whole village of people that were destroyed by these jealous white people. How were you able to reenact this thing?
I'm going to tell you something. It was hard. Spirits came to me and told me how to write this play. I had an idea of what it was about, and I did my research. However, it was very hard to write the pain that these people went through. Babies were killed. Old people were killed. Young people were killed. Men were marched through the streets like dogs. This reminded me of the 21st century, that how, you know, they found mass graves 2 years ago, or was it 3? 3 years ago, and it made television. They found mass graves. It was horrible.
Yeah.
But the story had to be told.
Right,
because
right.
even the people that were killed, their ancestors, no one spoke about it because they were too afraid to speak about it. And they were so traumatized by it, they never told anyone.
Interesting. Well, I want to congratulate you on your production, even though I haven't seen it yet, but it sounds extremely powerful. And I'm kind of nervous because of what these people experienced, went through, lived through, died for. So I definitely have to see it.
One of our actors had to fight with God. He blames God for allowing this to happen.
Right.
And these are church people. So that's one thing that you don't do is you don't this blasphemy to people who, we worship God. We're God-fearing people.
They hear it out in the AME church.
We hear it out in the church. And believe it or not, it's this piece has really, like, we all suffer through this. Like, it's not like we get up and I guess it's a certain fulfillment, but, and as actors, as artists, thespians, we enjoy the process, but it's not like we're not happy. We don't feel, but we do feel a certain, a certain.
Because you get the message out.
We get the message out, and we're honored to be able to tell the story, to be used as a medium, to be able to, this story can come through. But it's not easy at all. Like, it's not.
It takes us a while to kind of get ourselves back together again after the performances, because of the fact it's so strong and powerful. And for me, I feel that we're telling the story of the history of Blacks in America, our whole history since slavery, because it's not a new thing. And this show really proves that, of people being beaten and killed and hung and castrated and raped and the whole thing like that. So we're really retelling some of the horrors that's happened historically to Blacks. It almost as if we're going through a historical trauma, but it has to be told. And we're just so happy that she had the vision and the talent and just the determination to put pen to paper and put the story out there, because people are fascinated. They're on the edge of their seats when they see it in the theater.
Well, it's interesting how you guys were able to reenact the death and destruction of a whole village. Wow.
Yeah. And I want to say too, in a system that, keeps productions like these underfunded and poor by design, because of course they don't want you to do things like this. How are you able to pull such an elaborate production off? It takes a lot of resources to do this.
I have a big supporter who is James Jennings at the American Theater of Actors on 54th Street in New York City. James has always been supportive of my work. When nobody else would do my work, James came out and supported me. And, you know, I adore him as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
But back to my actors. A lot of my actors I've known for years. Like Courtney's on stage. The entire time this play is on, he is standing and he's there telling the story. And then the actors act out what he is told. And what happens is we have the audience, they break the fourth wall and come out into the audience and make them part of it.
Wow.
Like one of our audience members, they cried and said, how could you bring the noose that they hung, what's his name?
Ron Taylor.
Ron Taylor was hung, and it was a mistake because they were so quick to indict him. What happened is that Ron takes the noose they hung him with and brought it to the audience and made them touch it. The audience went crazy.
So it's interactive. It sounds like a very interactive and innovative, immersive experience. That I can't wait to experience. I'm going to definitely show up. I'm going to be there. Let me read what some folks have said. It says, through exceptional acting and powerful performances, the resurrection shows how quickly vibrant Black lives were tragically lost due to timeless evil and hate. The playwright tells...
You know, this is just a continuation of the story of like what Courtney was saying about the Black American experience. It's just, you know, you leave us alone. We amass this wealth that we're able to circulate the dollar through our, you know, that's the whole thing to talk about, you know, when you have, you know, communities that they're able to circulate the dollar. And that's what we're able to, the few times we were able to do it, you know, Rosewood, right? I know you're aware of that. And then, and also what was going on in Wilmington, you know, and we were able to like kind of like amass this wealth. And, you know, when we get it, what happens? You know, somebody's, you know, all of a sudden it's like a white woman is always at the pinnacle of the destruction of the community. We've seen this over and over. So,
well, I'm glad a lot of folks are definitely exposing the Karens, because that's a phenomenon that, you know, people would overlook. And a lot of these Karens, they are doctors, nurses, they're teachers, you know, and they have a lot of contempt for, you know, particularly Black men and Black boys. And so, you know, I'm so glad that when people do films and plays and artwork and music about these things, it is so helpful in terms of our struggle in communications to connect the dots for folks. Because a lot of people think this is new. We have to let people know this is not new. It's just very different. And so it's hard to, you know, relate to, for example, you know, Amir Ellis being missing.
Right.
You know, talking about, you know, what happened in Rankin County and Michael Corey Jenkins case, where they put a gun in somebody's mouth and then, you know, shoot it and have them. So, you know, we see a lot of these heinous acts today, but a lot of people think it's happening in the vacuum. A lot of people think that it's just happening sporadically, like it's, you know, nothing to see here, and let's just keep on moving. No, this is a symptom.
And, you know, Rasheem Carter, who was just murdered 7 months ago, his head was severed, and, you know, they did all types of things to his body and had fed it to animals and lynched him and all that. But Rasheem Carter, I think it happened in South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, where he was being followed by, well, he had some type of discrepancy with his boss, and he felt threatened by his boss or whatever. So he wanted to go to the police. He couldn't get anybody to give him a ride, so he walked to the police station, which I believe was like far off from where he was coming from, and the police would not help him. And he was being followed by 3 truckloads of white men, which he sent a message to his mother and told her that. And then a couple of days later or so, parts of his body was found. His head had been severed. Parts of his body had been fed to animals. They, like I said, they cut his head off and they cut his penis off and they stuck his penis in his mouth, and pretty much all they had to identify him by was his skull and a piece of his spinal cord. But I want to thank you all for doing this production, because I feel as an actor and a creator, myself, a content creator, filmmaker, and all that, that we have responsibility as Black artists and content creators to do these types of stories, to teach to the current generations and upcoming generations, because a lot of our people want to believe that we live in a post-racist society. We want to put on these blinders and act like stuff like what I just described with Rasheem Carter and Sensei Reed, who was a 13-year-old boy who was just earlier this year shot in the back by some 36-year-old white man who was still walking free to this day. So this stuff is happening over and over again, you know, like even with the white boy who went into that supermarket a year ago in Buffalo, New York, and killed those people in that market. You know, so we have a responsibility to put these stories out there and to show. And I want to thank you for doing that. And
well, thank you very much. I think we have more than a responsibility to entertain people. But 100 years from now, these stories will still exist if we keep working at it. And that's our job that's in this business, to tell not only our stories, but tell what happened to us and show people what happened to us.
I totally agree. Do you plan on taking this production on tour? Because I would love to see it. If I can't get to where you are you planning on taking it on tour?
Well,
and just a little plug, if you do plan on holding auditions at another time, I'm right here too. As an
oh, that's good. Listen, we had been invited to Oklahoma in the summer to come. They had come to the show. They loved what they saw, and they gave us a special invitation to come and perform it there. So it's resonating quite well. And to get back to your other point, you're absolutely right. We have a responsibility to tell the story, tell our story, because we have the responsibility to make sure it doesn't happen again. And the way things are seeming these days in this present political climate, it scares me. It scares me a great deal, especially what happened on January 6th, watching a group of people march up and storm our system of government. Okay, a lot of those people would see you on the street and shoot you because of the fact of the way you look, meaning me as a Black man or you as a Black man. So that's fear enough to keep in our hearts to make sure this crap does not happen again. We cannot have another prosperous village burned to the ground because of sheer fear and jealousy of people who are afraid of how we look.
And there have been, I found out that there were like over 100 successful Black communities across the country at one point in the early 1900s. And even, you know, like what happened with Central Park, which I just found out about a few years ago, that where Central Park is now was a successful Black community, Seneca Village.
Yes.
And when white folks decided they wanted to build a park somewhere, they just figured they would just
uproot
go and kill, uproot Black people and kill Black people and throw Black people off their own property to build a park.
Isn't that kind of like the normality of America? Even when you go, like when you get into the modern era, it's like whenever they wanted a neighborhood, they'll just build a highway or a freeway through the neighborhood and sort of displace us, and we get moved to another part until the white people feel like they want to gentrify it, which we're seeing all over.
Harlem.
I just on the way here today, I ran into a Brooklynite that grew up about 5 minutes from where Ann lives, and he hadn't been here in 5 years. He's a photographer. He's been all over the world. He was like, he just was just mesmerized by how many white people that are in this particular area. This is Flatbush? Flatbush. And he was just blown away. And I was like, wow, because I don't see it, because I'm just here, and it's just like you're part of the you see it, but I don't see what he sees. It's like, man, there's so many white people. He was just blown away.
It really is insidious. It creeps up on you. They do it in a way where they have a lot of time, and they're very patient people. Yeah, and they are doing things. I just want to share this story because no one is talking about this story. I should say no one, but very few people are talking about this because, we know when these huge events take place, and I think if we're not paying attention, is that this Black Wall Street is happening every day. It's just in incrementals and incrementally and all over the place. And this is in front of your screen, a sister named Michaela Sharman. She's 25 years. She was 25 years old. She was brutally raped. She was put in a dumpster by 2 police officers, set on fire. And guess what? Those officers still have their jobs.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, it is. And that's right now. That was just, this is recent.
Yeah, this is not like long ago. And I think if we're not paying attention because we're distracted with, the Kardashians or whoever, whatever other people are like focused on, we kind of miss that these things are happening today and now. And that's why Resurrection, the play, is a must-see. It's relevant to today. I think if we don't know where we've been, there's no way we're going to know where we're going. And we don't even know where we are because we don't know where we've been. So how can you plot a roadmap to freedom and revolution if we don't have this information? So once again, I applaud you for doing this. And tell folks when they can see it, how they can support, how they can purchase tickets, and hopefully bring a school if you're a teacher, if you are a principal of a school, if you can get some of the it's too important not to see it.
Well, we're going up at the American Theater of Actors on West 54th Street between 8th and 9th in July 26th through the 30th.
It's in the theater district. So basically it's
314. 314 West 54th.
314
West 54th Street, American Theater of Actors.
Okay. Can you put that information in the chat so we can also share that with the folks who may watch this at another time, the archive show, and for folks who are watching on Facebook, because we really want our people to come out in droves and support this, because this is what happens when you support this. You send an indicator to all creatives that this is something that we want to see. We want to know about our stories. We want to know and understand about this part of history, that they're on the fast track. They're trying to erase it. Not only are they trying to erase it, they're trying to get you to cooperate with the erasure of this history by, taking down these monuments, taking down this, taking that, so they can say it didn't happen. See, that's the trick behind what I believe, getting us all of a sudden they care about us where they don't want these flags, they don't want these statues. It's something else going on. So they get you all riled up in your feelings and get you to cooperate with removing history. And once you don't know, let's say kids that somebody's just born today, and they don't know that these people represent what they represent. My answer was, as opposed to removing flags and statues, are to erect statues of Malcolm X, Demoir Vesey, erect taller statues right in front of these other statues or behind, wherever they are, so that we don't lose this history. Because what happens is if, we forget, we're doomed to repeat this history. So I actually believe that it's a scam. It's a scheme to get us so caught up in our feelings that we participate in removing all of these symbols, all of these reminders of our terror, of our 9/11s, and the things that we continue to go through today. So the play. No, what were we saying?
Oh, I was saying that was a great point you made about the Karens, because it's not just the person that you think that can maybe be a part of you getting killed as a Black person, but What about going to get that job? What about going to get that loan? What about going to get like some, you know, it's like they're in places that, you know, with the Central Park Karen, you remember that one, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
She ran a firm. So, you know, and she tried to get the guy killed.
Right.
So like those people are insulated all throughout America. And it's not just the person that's just outwardly racist, because I'm sure a lot of those people at the January 6th, when, you know, that the whole invasion, I'm sure a lot of those people are people that you see every day that come up to you and that are maybe the nicest people in the world.
The movers and shakers of the society, so to speak.
Yeah,
you know, let me just say something to you. Years ago, you would never hear a white person speaking racism to a black person. Now, Donald Trump has made it all right to call a black person anything he want to call them, and spurred this whole thing, this invasion of Washington, just by his venom. I live in a building where he was sued to put black people in. I live in one of his buildings.
You mean Patio Gardens, right?
That's right.
Oh, I knew somebody who used to do collections for Patio. Yeah, Father Trump. Yeah, because I knew someone who used to do who used to work for him and do collections many years ago. Yeah, so yeah, I know where you are. Not too far from Medgar Evers.
Right.
I went to school.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
not
right.
Too far. Yeah. So.
Are you from Brooklyn?
Yes, I'm from. Matter of fact, I'm back in Brooklyn.
Oh wow!
I'm back in Brooklyn.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome home.
I went to George Gershwin. I was raised in East New York. You know,
I came out of Brownsville.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I used to
The
live
Van
on
Dyke
Lot
Project.
Avenue.
Well, I came out Brownsville on the Van Dyke projects between Mother Gaskin and Powell, I think. Yeah, Powell Street.
Yeah, I know exactly where you were.
Oh yeah,
Brooklyn in the house.
Tell them about how you used to take the cream off the top of at the
where they had
the Restoration Center.
Restoration used to be Herschel Farms.
Right, I remember that.
I used to steal milk out of there and drink the cream off it and put the top back on. And I went to 93 on the next corner. Yes, 93.
Oh wow! And so I know over there near there, I used to like the smell of the bread. They had what was the name of the bread company? Was it Tasty
Bread?
Tasty, that's right. Oh yeah. Tasty bread used to be able to, you go get the milk, the bread right there. Oh yeah, you're going way back.
You know, there were times when we couldn't eat, and that's when we went and stole bread, or either they gave it to us.
Yeah, at some point. Yes, but so folks, the play is called Resurrection. It has a very limited showing. You're gonna want to grab the tickets and grab them fast. Take a friend. Take a foe, and this way your foe won't be a foe anymore. He'll become a friend because you took him or her to see a really outstanding production that hopefully at the end of the day, although we may feel a certain way, we're going to be made better as a result of looking at a part of our history coming through these incredible actors. By the way, I know Shabaya Clark. You know, Shabaya Clark is in one of my... Yeah, Shabaya is in one of my film productions. He's played... a lead role with a few other actors. Oh, he's incredible. He does a lot of work with young people upstate.
Yes,
he's a phenomenal actor. Yes, and also on this call we have a director, actor, a producer, a writer, singer called Taste. By the way, is there any musical? Is there any music in this play, or is it just straight acting?
No, this is dramatic. This is drama.
Oh, dramatic. Okay.
No filibuster. No cream on the top.
Gotcha.
This is straight. No chaser. This black coffee. This is no. We don't. This is no.
All right. That's just how we like it on the Colored Only Cafe. What do you as an actor? What do you think about the Tyler Perry buying BET?
I think it's great, actually. I think it's okay. Right.
What was the question?
About Tyler Perry buying BET. What do you think about that?
I think it's fine. I think he ought to get me to Broadway also.
Well, I wonder will he do a movie of Black Wall Street?
Because I think what you're saying also, which is interesting about that, we need one of us basically to try to get into the PowerPoint to tell our stories, our various stories. There's other stories to tell, you know, and not all of them are tragic stories. A lot of them are really wonderful, warm-hearted family stories of the Black community. Not all fathers desert their children in the Black community. There are many fathers who embrace their children as well as other children to help them to be fine human beings. So there's so many different departments in our Black community and the stories that we have to tell. And so that's one of the reasons I'm glad about it. So someone will open it up a little more to tell the various stories of our history, our culture.
I want to say something to you.
Sure.
Brad Pitt has made a movie. He's a producer of a movie called The Underground Railroad. And I looked at it last night. And I'm saying, why aren't we making those movies?
I think, you know what? I think, you know, it's hard to get certain movies financed. And that's what I wanted to talk about. I think there's certain interests and there's ways that these interests converge, and there's ways that these interests does not, that go different directions. So I think at the end, it's not just an issue of race. It's also an issue of economics and class. So, for example, I suspect to some extent that there will be no interest to finance, let's say, a film about Black Wall Street, you know, with, you know, actors and so forth to show the horror and the terror. There's not going to be a film about Mumia Abu-Jamal. There's not going to be a film about that because that does not serve the interests of the same people who are also Black but they feel like they are of a different class. So, you know, there are certain issues and conversations that if we were to have, honestly and frankly, that it would not serve not just Tyler Perry, but anybody else or Oprah and them. And that's why they don't do it. They know how far to go. They don't want to touch the third rail because it doesn't serve their interests as well. They don't want things that will empower and enlighten the masses of people, because now their status is in question and in jeopardy, and they won't do it. No one will work against their interests.
Malcolm said, we need to get it done by any means necessary.
That's right. Like you did it. That's why I think you're a shining example. That's why I'm so glad that you came on the program, so that people can see, you know, that, you know, you did it hook or crook. You made it happen.
But she also had help of someone who believed in her, who had the door open. Yes. Usually you have to find people to help you open the door, and they look a certain way, the people who are there holding the door for you. If they like you, say, come on in.
She's the only female and Black woman that has a residency at American Theater of Actors.
Wow.
So James really believed in her, which is like nobody at the time. So
right. And guess what? I gotta tell you, I gotta tell you, and a lot of my friends may be shocked to hear this. I actually appreciate that, but I think we have to understand that that's charity. That depends on what somebody feels. That depends on someone's feeling, an attitude, or even connection to that person. I think what we need to recognize as people that we are the door. We are the goddamn door. We are the talent. People come out to see us. We are the writers. We are the most creative people. We are a force. And I think if we begin to support each other, we will recognize we don't need them. We don't need them, that they need us. You know, think about what filmmaking would be without Oscar Micheaux, without my mentor, Melvin Van Peebles, without people like Spike Lee. There's a lot of people who are trailblazers who made a way despite oppression and despite racism. And they said, you know what? I'm not going to wait for a door to open. I'm going to make my own damn door. I'm going to make my own opportunity.
And I agree. I agree with that 100%. But it brings us full circle into resurrection again, because those folks in that community did the same thing. They showed they didn't need anyone. And the dollar that they made in that community stayed in that community for a full solid year. Yeah. That's how wealthy that's how wealthy that town was. Okay, until someone decided, I hate this. I hate that you're smart. I hate that you're a doctor, lawyer, teacher, professor, a millionaire. So let me bring it down. That's the story we're trying to tell, not to bring us down, because we need to be prosperous. We need to believe in ourselves, but also remember that there are always other people out there that's going to be jealous of that success that you gain.
Absolutely. Yeah, they have so much contempt for us. We recognize that we are the wealth. The wealth is not money. It's not what you have in your bank account. It's in each other, recognizing that this woman with the tenacity, with the gall, with the audacity to, write such a play, to bring together so much talent. And I know if Shabai is a part of it, it's going to be incredible. And for you folks who I'm just meeting tonight, I am even more inspired and excited to see this play, and I can't wait to see it. And I encourage all of my friends to come out and see it as well.
Tylon, we need to put together, just here at the Color Only Cafe, when are we going to go see it? We'll, make that and advertise that tonight.
Make it an event.
The Color Only Cafe is going out to see it. I will be in the Northeast during that time. Definitely at the end of July. So definitely will come. We can go there and we can advertise it that week before that. Hey, we're going to see the show and come and join us. So let's look at our schedules and make sure one of those days, Tylon, we can go as a show.
I think that's a wonderful idea.
Again, the American Theater of Actors at 314 West 54th, between the 8th and 9th, next door to the community courts.
Wow, I'm super excited. I can't wait.
In the Sergeant Theater.
It's easy to find. So.
It's right around the corner where Letterman used to be in the theater.
Up the block, yeah.
Wow.
Right around the corner on 8th Avenue.
Okay, and then hopefully, right after, I would love for you to come back on the Colored Only Cafe and just, just check in and check up on us and let us know how well you did. Because we're going to be in the house. We're going to make an event. We're going to get some tickets. As a matter of fact, we're going to put out there, if you guys want to meet Dr. Ron, he's going to come in town because he's out in Florida. I'm already here in New York City. Maybe we'll get Sheila in town from Germany. You get to meet the cast and crew of the Colored Only Cafe. And we're going to figure out how to get Coltes up in here in New York, so that he can come and see. We got to break some bread. We've been talking. We got to hang out a little bit. Lydia is also in New York City, so hopefully Lydia can make it. She's a wonderful writer as well and a poet. And, oh, wow, Reynold is in the phone. He's an artist, young man I used to mentor at high school. What was the name of the high school? Jeez, I worked at so many high schools with the mentorship program. And it was like Metro Plus High School. So he's reached out, and he has an album. We're going to talk about his music next week. And play some of his tunes, because this is Black Music Month, folks. And as we wind up in the last 7 minutes, I want to give a huge hug and shout out to, of course, Sheila Silva from Germany, who really is an incredible support to the GoPro Radio Network, and Metropolis Films. The name of the school is Metropolitan Diploma Plus High School. Yeah, so, I worked there for a while, and he was a really brilliant talent, and come to find out now he's got 4 or 5 albums out. He's just doing his thing. I didn't know that. I mentored, I was right around there with what's the guy? Pop Smoke was his name? And he just told me that today.
Bashar Jackson.
Yeah.
Let me also say that I would love for people to come and see the show in Oklahoma. Some of my family is coming. It's at the
Oklahoma Community State College.
Oklahoma City Community College.
Now, is the whole cast going out there to Oklahoma?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And Shabaya is going too.
Wow, that's going to be great. And it's very important to do it there. It has so many significant reasons and for being right there.
When is that?
In Oklahoma.
August the 18th.
That's in August.
August 19th and the 20th.
And we need as many New Yorkers, New Jersey, and all over the United States to support this play. Hopefully, we'll get a film out of it. Hopefully, we'll go to Broadway. Hopefully, everyone will see what people have done to Black people all over the United States.
All over the world.
You know, I hate to say that the United States is one of the most prejudiced countries on earth. I hate to say it, but it's true. It's true. And we need to sit and acknowledge that and realize that, you know, a woman just had a white woman shot a Black woman through a door.
Yeah.
Because she rang a bell.
That was in Florida.
Deshaun reported on that. Yeah. As I said, it's nothing has changed. I would even argue that it is worse. And what has made it worse is that it's so insidious that it's happening right up under our nose. And like I said, they got us distracted. Yeah. It's normalized, and people are feeling like, oh, everything's okay. You see all these shows, the mermaid shows, all these silly pictures that try to show people coming together and all this other kind of stuff. But I'm so glad that and appreciative that you've taken on this task to put together this play. And I agree. I think that it's going to not only be a play, hopefully it'll become a film. Who knows? Maybe by that time I'll be able to direct it. And
I think we have enough resources with the famous Black people that's in this business to do it.
That's right. Deshaun has his hand up.
Ms. Watley, I wanted to compliment you and just say, and everyone on here who knows me knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say that you are another example of why I love Black women. Thank you very much for this play. Looking very forward to seeing it.
Well,
thank
you.
And it's an example. It's something that Michael Eric Dyson, he used this term some time ago, that many African Americans, many Black people have developed Afro-amnesia, in which we, by design, some of us forget intentionally the hell that we've been through, but many of us, unfortunately, we get it's acquired from what we're indoctrinated with in school, but also in the society. Black people are the only ones who are, not only is our suffering dismissed, but we are the only ones who are conditioned or forced to dismiss our own suffering. So it's like, how dare you bring up the fact that you are, that you were oppressed? How dare you bring up, not only do you have many white people that have this attitude, but there are many, when we talk about, quote, people of color, you have other non-Blacks, many Asians, many Arabs, many of them take on white racist attitudes as well, and they tell Black people to forget the past. And then, of course, you have us that tell us to forget the past, other Black people. So thank you very much. We have to, something that Dr. John Henry Clark had stated.
Thank you for your good words.
Oh, thank you. And I'm going to wind down. Dr. Clark, he had described history as being a people's map that tells us where we are, where we're going, where we need to go. But he also said that he said this, the Black people that get tired of hearing about slavery and us being lynched and murdered and massacred. He said, look, you got to take the good with the bad when dealing with our history.
He also said too, Black people, you have no friends.
Brother, you know what? I just said that earlier tonight on Clubhouse. I was in a room discussing, relationships, not relationships, but, anti-Blackness, etc. Make a long story short, I said that. I quoted Dr. Clark right before coming on air. You have no friends. I said the same thing.
Yes. All right, so we're down to 2 minutes before we shut down the Facebook feed. Folks on Facebook who are checking us out and want to join the conversation, because we're going to be talking about Tyler Perry and his buying the BET network. Is this something that's good for the black community? I'm using air quotes on community because everybody knows how I feel about that word. But is it good? Is it something that's bad? Is it something that, like Ron says, it's not going to make a difference? It's right in the middle. So you can definitely join us on the conversation. I want to thank you guys.
Buying BET, I think that's wonderful. That he should be able to help some of the black shows that are trying to tell the story.
So I want to give a big shout out to the producers, all the supporters, all the folks who are behind the scenes to help to make the Colored Only Cafe happen. I want to tell you guys, join us next week. You don't want to miss next week's show. We have a powerful sister who's going to be in the house. She is an author. She is a public speaker, a life coach. She's also a talk show host, and her name is Gloria Bailey Ray. Remember that name, etch it in your mind. She's going to join our program next week along with you, because I'm sure you're going to be back in black at the Colored Only Cafe, where the conversation is always hot, black, and strong. All right, guys, until then, keep your head on a swivel and join us and stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.
Okay, my dear.
Take care.
Take care.
Thank you. Take care, man.
Thank you.